explain one way in which the role of the community in law enforcement was different in the medieval era to the early modern era. 4 marks. Here's the mark scheme for this question, which you can find out about in more detail in our overview video. But we do know that 2 marks are awarded for AO2, which is the quality of your comparison. So that means that you need to be analytical rather than generalised. By that we mean you need to explain your thinking, not just stating that there are differences or similarities, but why there are differences or similarities, or the significant differences and similarities. The 2 marks are also awarded for AO1, which is your use of knowledge and understanding to support your judgments. So if you're saying that something's similar or different, then can you draw on the knowledge that you already have to explain why that might be? That feeds into the analysis that we were just talking about. And as we say, the AOs depend on each other, so bringing in evidence of your own knowledge to support your analysis is really key to scoring highly on this question. Here are the bands for this question, which again are explained in more detail in the overview video. But generally speaking, to score highly on this question, your comparison needs to be analytical, so you've explained your thinking clearly, and it needs to draw on evidence from your own knowledge to show that you've got really detailed knowledge of the topic. There are lots of points you could have made when answering this question, so as long as what you say is relevant and correct, the examiner will give you the marks. But let's take a look at some examples. So one could have been that whilst in medieval England there were constables and justices of the peace, law enforcement actually became more formal and organised in early modern England. And that was because constables hired more people into the force, and they launched an early version of the professional police force. And that meant that sole responsibility for law enforcement no longer rested within the community. So you can see there, it's quite a detailed point. We've clearly set out the change, and we've used evidence from our own knowledge to explain it in more detail. But take a look at the other point as well to see if there's anything you could have added to your answer.